Every time you open your web browser and type in a URL address such as google.com, what's going on behind the scenes is that a request is being sent from your computer to that remote server. And what happens then is that that server will send you back a response, and that response will contain an entire website, so that that whole page is loaded in your browser. That's what's called a synchronous request. But there are times where you don't want to have the entire website sent to you, but you want to have bits and pieces of data and use that data to populate the website that you're using. Example, I'm gonna go to google.com. So the first thing that's going on is that we are loading the entire page, right? We ask for google.com, we get it back, or we might get like a localized version of it. That's fine. But what happens when I start typing in some information here? Well, what's going on now is that the page hasn't been reloaded. I'm not asking for a new page, but things have changed here. It's showing me suggestions, it's showing me results. It's what's called the instant search. And what's really happening here is that I'm receiving information in a non-synchronous way. So I'm receiving parts of the information. Whether this is using jQuery or some other technique, or whether this may actually be using sockets or some other kind of connectivity, what's going on is basically a non-synchronous request to the server. So Ajax, which is what we're going to cover in the following videos, it stands for Asynchronous JavaScript and XML, and it's basically receiving information from the website in a way that doesn't involve loading the entire page. And that's the basic of all rich web applications that are very easy to use, that are nice for the user, because you're not reloading the page each time. You're just getting bits and pieces of information. Now, in order for you to run the Ajax examples that we'll be working on, you need to set up either a local web server, or you need to have your own domain and upload the examples to a remote server and load them from your web browser. The reason being, let me go through the files of the very first example that we'll work on. The very first example, what it does, it shows an area that says click me, and if I click on that area, it will load this file, result.xml, and show the results in this white area in here. Now, why can't we just open that and load it? Well, for security reasons, it's not allowed to access local files. So imagine if you visited a site that's a kind of dodgy place, and imagine they could just access the files in your computer. Imagine your web browser let them do that. Well, it doesn't, because of security reasons, because that would be really dangerous if it did. So that's why you need to have it in a local or remote server, so that you can access the files within that domain. What I have here is I've set up Apache. I'm using Ubuntu, so I don't really need to set up anything. Basically, it works right out of the box. All I need to do was specify a different port and location, just the way I work on my computer. But if you're using Windows, you can download Apache for Windows from the Apache Foundation website, or find distributions such as WAMP, which will come with PHP and MySQL as well, which you might want to use for some other things. Well, if you're on Mac, you can download MAMP. That's one of the Apache distributions, and there are other ways to install Apache too. You can find plenty of tutorials. I can't really cover the process for each one of the platforms, but it's not hard to do. And once you install Apache, all you need to do is find the Apache folder where you're meant to put your public HTML files, and then you'll be able to access them usually by typing localhost and the subfolder that you put in there, or optionally a port number as well if you've specified one explicitly. Alright, so once you set up Apache, continue with the next videos, and we'll be doing cool things with Ajax so that you get all familiar with it.